Okay, so we've done baby, toddler, children. Who's next? Yes, fantastic. It is the teenager next. Now, the teenagers are between the ages of 13 and 19. Okay, now this is the stage between childhood, so from being a child to being an adult. So it's the stage between childhood and adulthood. Now, you might have some brothers and sisters that are teenagers that are between the ages of 13 and 19. Now, teenagers are able to do most of the things that adults can do, and their bodies start to change into that of an adult. So they're starting to look more and more like an adult. So, for example, they get much taller. So therefore, in that sense, they look more like an adult. And sometimes teenagers can even be taller than some adults. Okay, so they get taller and their bodies start looking more like adults. And teenagers eat a lot. Why do we think they eat a lot? Well, teenagers eat a lot because they grow and change a lot. So they become taller and they become stronger and they need lots of food in order for this to happen. Okay, so that is the next stage after children. So you've had babies, which were from 0 to 1 year old, toddlers 1 to 3 years old. Then we had children 3 to 12, teenagers 13 to 19. Can you hear 13, 14, 15, all the way to 19? Can you hear the word teen in that word? Yes, that's because they are teenagers. Okay, so what is after teenagers? Yes, it was adults, wasn't it? Now, adults are fully grown. Okay, so they've grown as much as they can. You cannot get any taller once you're an adult. Once you're at the size, at the height you are when you're an adult, you don't grow any more. And your body has fully developed. So your legs will be as long as they will be. Your hands will be as big as they will be. That your feet won't grow anymore. Your nose won't grow anymore. Okay, your body is fully developed. Now, when you're an adult, you can take care of yourself. Okay, so unlike the babies, the toddlers and the children, when you're an adult, you can take care of yourself. And when you're an adult also, you can start having children of your own. Okay, so we have learned about all of the stages of a person's life, of a human's life. We've had toddlers, we've had babies, toddlers, children, teenagers, and adults. Now, here we go. So this shows all of the stages of development for a woman. Okay, so you develop as you get older, don't you? Like I said earlier, you change over a period of time. Now, you can see there that we have a baby or a toddler who goes to a child, who goes to a teenager, and the teenager then looks a little bit older. And then we have an adult, and look, the adult has a baby because adults are able to have their own babies. And then the woman is getting older, and then she is an elderly woman. Now, an elderly person is not on our stage of life, okay? Well, they are on the stage of life, but not one of the ones that we've learnt about today. We've only gone as far as adults. But let's just learn a little bit about the elderly. So the elderly is any age after 65. And when you are elderly, you begin to slow down, your body begins to slow down and it ages. So your joints and muscles can ache a little bit. And older people normally have softer skin and some have wrinkles on their skin. And they often have grey or white hair. Okay, so that is elderly. So that's after adult, okay? So after 65, you become an elderly person and your body begins to slow down and your body ages, your joints and your muscles can start aching and you get softer skin and sometimes wrinkles and you get some grey or white hair like the woman in the picture. Now, all parts of your body grow, as I said. So we've talked about our hands growing, our legs growing, our feet growing, our nose growing, and even our earlobes growing. Now, as you get taller, your legs and your arms get longer, and your hands and your feet get bigger, as I said. But your body mostly grows in proportion. Now, what does proportion mean? Well, proportion is a noun, and it means the relationship in number or size of two things. So, for example, you wouldn't have giant feet and then tiny short legs, because that's not in proportion. If you have tiny short legs, you probably have quite small feet. And if you have really, really long legs, you probably have bigger feet. Okay. And if you have really big feet, you're not going to have tiny, tiny hands, are you? So if you have an adult sized feet, you're not going to have tiny hands like a child, are you? Your hands and your feet are going to grow in proportion, okay? So the size of them is going to be quite similar. You're not going to have different sizes. You're not going to have tiny, tiny feet and really, really long legs, okay? You're not going to have really big feet and tiny hands, okay? Your body grows in proportion. Now, your task. This is what I'd like you to do. So we have learned about all the different stages of a human's life. We learned about babies, toddlers, children, teenagers, adults, and then the elderly, which is over 65. And we have learned different facts about each of these stages of somebody's life. Now, this is your task. So you have a timeline of a human's life going from baby to adult. Okay, because those are the ones we've focused mainly on today. We haven't spoken about elderly as much. So in your timeline, you will have boxes like this, and you'll have the stage of the life at the top. So you have baby at the top of this one. Now you need to draw a picture of a baby in the box at the top. And then at the box, in the box at the bottom, you need to say some facts about that stage of life. So you will find the timeline on the resource Year 2 Science, 8th of February, resource 1. And then on resource 2, you will find facts about the different stages of life. Now you can either cut them out and stick them in the box, or you can just write them in the appropriate box, depending on what different stage of life it is talking about. So let's have a look at the first one together. So we've got baby here. We've got, they say their first words, they can take care of themselves, they have very little control over their bodies. Now, they say their first words. What stage of life are we talking about here? Can babies say their first words? No, they can't, can they? It's toddlers, isn't it, that can say their first words? Okay, can babies take care of themselves? Well, no, it was adults that can take care of themselves. Babies definitely can't take care of themselves. What about the last one? They have very little control over their bodies. Ah, yes, that one is talking about babies, isn't it? Because remember, I said you have to hold their heads to make sure they can control their heads, because otherwise their heads will just go back. So therefore, that is our statement, our fact for the stage of life, baby. Okay, so you would cut that out and stick it in the bottom box, or you would write it in the bottom box. Okay, so have a look at resource 2 and see if you can sort the different facts into the different stages of a human's life on resource 1. Okay, well done, year 2. You have been brilliant in today's